And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com. www.galacticfriedchicken.com is the website. Go get the app. They will bring it right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. Or get your little butt down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of those delicious chicken tendies, fried chicken, coleslaw, French fries, fried pickles, the whole menu, and that outstanding Galactic sauce. It is out of this world. All right, Aaron. I'm full. Like, I'm stuffed. Went out to dinner with Kelly's family tonight, and I ate too much. So
I feel good.
I mean, I feel good. I'm just full. Like, we feasted. So
it's an awful nice hoodie you got on there.
It is. Well, home field apparel, homefieldapparel.com. Save yourself 15% with the code BCJ23. It was time. The only two hoodies I've worn this weekend, the gray, my favorite.
I like
and
the
then
gray.
I went to this one today, which this one's super comfy as well. So it is Big 12 recap night. So an interesting week in the Big 12. Again, that's why this is fun, because the outcomes aren't essentially predetermined as they were in the previous league. Now things are starting to get interesting in the Big 12. We'll start on Friday night. So much for Kansas State being a serious contender at the top of the league. Oklahoma State, like the Undertaker sitting up in a coffin, stamps that they might be a team to reckon with a little bit. A spoiler, if you will, as they take down Kansas State 29-21 in a game that, I mean, essentially Oklahoma State controlled pretty much start to finish.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. Will Howard had his worst game of the season as he goes 15-34, 152, a touchdown, 3 picks. He did, however, have 10 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown. But it was not going to be enough as Oklahoma State pulled it off. They did have 2 guys throw the ball. I think Brendan Presley threw it on a trick play as he is a wide receiver. But Alan Bowman, 19-35, 235, no touchdowns, no picks. But I was surprised.
I wasn't. I mean, at home, I wasn't shocked that they managed to win. I was shocked that they controlled that game pretty much start to finish.
I feel like I saw a stat somewhere that said Oklahoma State had won 8 of 9 from like 8 of 9 home games now. So I don't know. I could be wrong in that regard, but I hope South Alabama is not the only one who took them down. But I wish I could remember what that stat said. That doesn't help this conversation a whole lot.
The interesting part, of course, being Cincinnati has to travel to Stillwater.
Like, they do.
2 of those 3 games in this next 3-game stretch got a lot more interesting this week. And that Oklahoma State game to round out this little 3-game stretch on the road in Stillwater, not going to be a piece of cake.
Well,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, Emory's going to have to be careful protecting the ball against a team that turned over the Kansas State 3 times.
Yeah.
But I know what you're going next.
Red River Rivalry. Wild game. Crazy from essentially the opening kickoff. A block punt for a touchdown, pick 6, like a fake punt. Like there was chaos everywhere, especially in the first half. The first half was like, what the hell is happening here? But Oklahoma, 34-30, they take down Texas, and
on the back of Dylan Gabriel at the end.
Yeah, that's as good as I've seen him look against a really high quality opponent. Like he answered the bell at the end of the game.
285 through the air, 113 on the ground, a touchdown each way. He had a great day. On the other side of the ball, Quinn Ewers, efficient, 31 to 37 for 346, but one touchdown, 2 picks. Dave mentioned today in the brunch this morning that Texas and Cincinnati have one thing in common outside of both of them losing to Oklahoma, and that's Texas struggles in the red zone as well.
Yeah. It's almost like it's harder to score in the red zone. I don't think people add that into the equation when they get upset about it. It's not easy.
Could be why they keep that stat, crazy as that might be.
That's not excusing anything, but Oklahoma atop the Big 12, 6-0, 3-0 in Big 12 play. Does it make you feel any better when you look back to how Cincinnati played Oklahoma?
Absolutely.
Where Oklahoma's at.
Especially the way that Oklahoma won. When you watch Texas kick that field goal and there's a minute left or so, and Oklahoma gets the ball back. And it just, I don't know. I'm watching the game. I hadn't invested much time prior to the fourth quarter in that game. And I see them kick the field goal. And then I just didn't feel good for Texas at that point in time. They're showing the fans going bananas. And I'm like, not so fast, my friend.
I mean, that's one thing Oklahoma can do is
score
move
quickly.
The ball down the field in a hurry. So they didn't do it against Cincinnati, really, but against most everybody else, they can do that.
And I don't know how 34 points fits into the ebbs and flows. I feel like this is almost a middle ground. So maybe my pattern is over. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how next week goes. But
it was like this.
And now
flatlined a little bit.
Well, I mean,
the trend is next week.
They had scored 50 the week prior and only 34 here. So maybe this is the top of the bottom for them at 34. Right. Maybe they go bananas and score a ton against UCF next. Maybe they score a bunch against UCF next.
Kansas 51, Central Florida 22. As Dave said this morning, the game was not 30 points close. Like it was considerably worse than a 30-point spread. Kansas beat that ass.
And I was shocked based on the uniform choice alone that they won that game because it looked atrocious.
I like the Kansas Blues.
The Blues are fine, but paired with the red pant, it was gross. It was gross. And the red face mask, the giant Jayhawk on the side, it's giant.
They can run the ball, man. They can run the ball. 400 yards rushing?
Without their starting quarterback, they said, we're just going to run it down your throat. And they end up 51 carries, 399 yards, 5 scores. Jeez.
Central Florida looks small. Like they look small.
Well, and this goes back to the point I continue to make, and I don't care who's listening at this point. I believe it to my core. But moving up from the American to the Big 12 has not been easy for anyone. BYU, I know their record stands at 4-1, and people are saying that because they have played an independent schedule where they played a ton of Power 5 prior to, not to mention there are 30-year-old men on that team. BYU's built a little different than everybody else who came into the Big 12 this year, but it's not the same. And I'm not surprised that no team outside of BYU has a win from these new 4 teams. And BYU's their win is against Cincinnati, another new team.
The thing that's kind of at least a little bit surprising, this is supposed to be what happens toward the end of the season, where the new team without the depth, whatever, wears down. But I think Baylor might have broken UCF. Like I think giving up that win at Baylor might have broken them because they do not look like a team playing with confidence. They do not look like a team that is sharp.
No, and Plumlee tried and McLean tried and none of it worked, and it was not a good outing. And for all of the people who want Satterfield punted into the sun, Gus Malzahn got an extension this week. So we'll be fine.
51-22. I mean, that was something. Texas Tech Also up off the mat against Baylor's dreadful on offense, man. Just dreadful. 39-14, Texas Tech wins at Baylor. Baylor had 3 points going into the fourth quarter. Dave Aranda might be in trouble, bro. Dave Aranda might be in trouble.
Baylor's next game is coming off a bye week next week, and their next game is Cincinnati. And if he loses to Cincinnati, is that the straw that broke the camel's back? You're looking at 2-5, and possibly, who knows what things are, but you could be the only team that lost to a new Big 12 team at that point. Who knows what happens next week? I like to think that we'll beat Iowa State, but my goodness, none of the stats here are really jumping off the page.
I mean, it was domination. Like it's just domination.
I mean, Baylor ran the ball 30 times for 17 yards. Yikes.
It's just bad. They can't move the ball. They can't. They're not the red zone. They're like, what the hell's the red zone?
Not that Texas Tech is jumping off the page either. They only had 180 in the air, 3 touchdowns and a pick, 186 on the ground for an average of 4.4, which in college football, that's not great.
Right. I don't know. I mean, maybe this is something that gets Texas Tech going. They don't look great either. I mean,
you hung up 39 on maybe the worst of the Big 12 teams that used to be there.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of Texas Tech yet. They looked pretty rough in the beginning of the season. Now they look like they might have gotten a few things figured out, but we'll see. We'll see. Who do they have next? They have Kansas State. So that's going to be a Kansas State team probably playing pretty angry.
A battle of the who knows.
Right. And then you look ahead to next week for the Bearcats. They've got Iowa State coming to town, and they controlled TCU pretty much start to finish. 27-14, the win, and a big game at Iowa State. What?
Sonny Dyke sucks.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's the bloom is going to come off that rose real quick.
Iowa State, though, winners at home 27-14 over TCU. Looking at the box score, I didn't get a chance to watch that one. I think, was that the late one?
Yeah, that was the late one.
Iowa State didn't do anything special. 138 in the air. That's nothing to write home about. 215 on the ground on 37 attempts. Okay.
I mean, they did it with defense. That's what they do.
Sure. TCU. Chandler Morris did apparently injure his knee that he injured last year. So they're evaluating that and hoping to have an answer, I believe, by tomorrow. Not great, though.
Not great, Bob.
TCU.
Not great.
Not great for TCU. As they had 4 picks that they threw against Iowa State. Again, another team that Cincinnati is going to have to be careful protecting the ball against. So between the two teams that I guess Oklahoma State's after Baylor, but 2 of the 3 upcoming teams have turned the ball over quite a bit.
Yeah. You're going to have to take care of it if you're going to win. And in other news, don't look now. Miami might go 11-1.
They have won, 50-3 in the last or in all of their MAC games combined?
Yeah. I mean, they're dominating people. Their defense, turns out their defense is actually pretty good. Like, we did not know that week 3 or 2 or 3, but they're on pace for a pretty darn good season. Pitt still stinks. But yeah.
I did see that Miami has the victory bell out, apparently. I don't know if that's going to be a thing they do at all their games or if they just had it out for this one, but they have they have it out that you can go up and take pictures with it at the game this weekend.
We might not ever have this back.
Who knows?
Get one more look at it. Wow.
Or they keep it forever. And
Or they cancel the series and keep it forever. They're actually just building a permanent home for it. They were fitting it, sizing it for its new permanent home at Yager Stadium, so hundreds of people can see it every Saturday.
I thought you were gonna go tens.
I was being nice. They're winning. They won. I'm being nice. Whatever. All right, that's gonna wrap it up. We'll see you for the BBP tomorrow night. That's the nightcap brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!